Hello, students. So this topic you'll be learning in Python's one of the important topic that is about the list data type. Okay, so what is the important of this list data type? It is used to store multiple items within a single variable. Okay, so when we consider the different type of built-in data type in Python, store different categories of data types. Okay, so normally in the case of array, you would have learned array is the collection of elements of similar data type. So in the same way, with the help of list, you can store multiple element, and each and every element can be of different data type. So the elements of the list is represented by square bracket. Okay, so but when we consider the other data type, so this is the representation for list, and this is the representation for tuple, and the next type is for dictionary. The other type of the data structure in Python, and that is represented using curly braces. So first thing is like we learn how do we create a list. Okay, so what is the syntax for creating a list? Okay, so as I've told that, so the list can be created and it can be stored in one single variable. Okay, so example, sample, we are going to create a sample list. The variable name is equal to sample list, and that is equal to, within square bracket you can mention what are all the list of elements you want to store within the variable. So in the same way, so the first is an example for the list of numbers. So in the same way, you want to store the list of characters, and that character values have to be enclosed within single quotation bracket. Okay, so these are all the example for how do we create some list of character. Okay, so you know that the string value it have to be enclosed with either single quotes, double quotes, or triple quotes in Python. Okay, so in the same way, so let us consider another representation for how do we create your list. Okay, so as I've told, that list is the collection of different data type. Okay, so you can store an integer, or you can store a character, or you can store a float value, or you can store a string data type. Okay, so this way also you can create a list. So the first thing is like we will learn what is the syntax for the initialization of list. Okay, so what is the syntax for the initialization of list? Okay, so the list can be initialized with the help of a function called as input function. So this helps to read the elements at runtime. This helps to read the elements at runtime. Okay, and the same way, so we have another function called as append function. Okay, so append, or we can call it as split function. So with the help of a split function, you'll be able to read the elements all at one time, all at one time. Okay, so when we look at the syntax, okay, so you can take down the syntax and then I'll take you through the demonstration. Say for example, with the help of the keyboard, you want to get the input from the user. Okay, so during runtime we want to get the input from the user, So how this can be done? Okay, so say for example, I create a sample list. Okay, so this is an empty list. Okay, so the list sample list is the name of the list, and which is empty. So for I in range, okay, so I'm going to store some set of 5 elements. Okay, so in order to initialize that with the help of for loop, okay, so we need to get the set of 5 elements. So element is equal to input of. Okay, so input is a function that helps to take the input from the user. And sample list dot append of element. Okay, sample list dot append of element. So what is happening actually? So when I is equal to 0, okay, so you get some input from the user. Say for example, if the input is 1, so that is stored in the variable element. Okay, so and then sample list dot append of element. Okay, so this element is now appended and it is stored in the sample list. Okay, so say for example, okay, so and in the next what will happen? Sample list will take the value, that is 1 will be stored. And when I is equal to 2, I is equal to 1. Okay, so at the next iteration, okay, so you get the input from the user. Say for example, if the user has entered 2, that is stored in the variable element, and then this is stored in the sample list variable. Okay, so already 1 was there in the next iteration. So 2 is entered and it is stored in the sample list. So the same we can look it by opening up Google Colab. Okay, so you should have already learned in the previous lecture. So how do we do create this Google? How do you open up your Google Colab? So go there and you can type the command. Okay, so how do we create and this sample list? So as I've told that sample list, okay, so you are going to initialize that sample list as an empty list, and then for I in range with the help of for loop, you are going to get the set of 5 elements. And say for example, element is equal to input of. Okay, so with the help of input function, you are going to get the input from the user. Okay, so you are going to get the input from the user. So now the same we are going to store it. Okay, so that is sample list dot append of element. So we should run this code and check. So it is taking time. It is taking time. Let us wait for this is an invalid syntax. Okay, so we need to initialize it to empty. Okay, so with the help of an assignment operator, we need to initialize the list to be as empty. So now it is successful. It is asking for the user to give the input. So now give with the help of keyboard, I give in and then give enter. The next input I give and then I give enter, and then third 30, 40, and then 50. So all the set of 5 elements are now. So this loop is iterated 5 times in order to get the input from the user. Okay, so this is how we do have to perform. Okay, so the creation. And the next is like, how do we do the creation using the split function? Okay, so the split is a function that helps to that is also helps to assign the elements in the list. So how we can do it? Sample list is equal to input of dot split off. Input of dot split off. So what will happen? Okay, so this also gives asks the user to give the input. So but all the element you'll get as input from the user all at once. Okay, so that the element can be identified, each and every element can be identified by a space. Okay, so by a space. So let us see that how it is being executed. You see that I give 10, okay, and then after that I give a space. Then that is the meaning that it is requesting for the next element. So now third element, and I then fourth element, and then I give the fifth element. So now you see that, so the list of elements are created. Okay, so we can create the list. Okay, so during runtime. Okay, and as well as you can create the list of elements all at one time. So the next is like, how do we do the accessing of the list of elements? Okay, so say for example, I have a sample list of elements. Okay, so 10, 20, 30, 40, and 50. So this is the sample list of elements that is stored in the list. So how in the array, how do you see that each and every element is having the index in the same way? So the list also, every element that is stored in the list will have its own index. Okay, so the index will begin from 0 and it will go till n minus 1 position. So the first element will be in the position 0, and the second element will be in the position 1. Okay, and the last element will be in the position n minus 1. Okay, so will be in the position 1, n minus 1. So when you give list name, okay, so list name here is sample list, and within square bracket you give what is the index position. So it will return, okay, so it will return the specific element. Okay, so it will return the specific element that is stored in the particular position. Okay, so say for here, the first element 10 will be in 0th index position. Okay, and 20 will be in first index position. Okay, and then 30 will be in second index position. Okay, and 40 will be in third, and 50 will be in fourth index position. So say for example, I want to retrieve what is the element that is stored in the index position 2. The element that is stored in the index position 2. So how will you do it? It is sample list is the list name, and within square bracket you need to give what is the index you want to look at. So when we give the index position, so you know that 0, 1, and 2. So the element that is stored in the second index position is 2, and you give it as 1. Okay, so the output will be 10. Right. Okay, so in the same way, you give it as 1, the output will be equal to 20. So this is how the elements are accessed. Okay, so how the elements of list is accessed. And the next thing is you should know, that is how do we do the update. Okay, so you should understand that the list elements can be updated. So updation can be done, you can do either reassignment, or you want to add, or if you want to add any element at the end of the list, you can add it. So you want to change some element of the list elements, such as you want to change the element that is stored in a particular position, you want to add a new element at the end of the list, or you want to delete the element that is stored in the list. So everything is possible. Okay, so how we can do it? It is list name sample list dot append. So with the help of the append function, so whatever element you want to add it. Okay, so that element will be added at the end of the list. Okay, so sample list dot append of 60. Okay, so sorry, already 40 is there. We'll add 50 to the list. Okay, so 50 will be added at the end of the list. And the next is reassign. Okay, so how do you change the element that is stored in a particular index position? Okay, so that is sample list, and within square bracket, say for example, I want to change the element at the particular index position 1. Okay, so already in the index position 1, element 20 is there. Okay, so if you go and look, okay, so at the index position 1, so what is that? 20 is there. So I want to change the element 20 to 60. Okay, so this is also possible. So how you can do the deletion? Okay, so you don't no longer require an element in the list. So how will you do it? It is with the help of delete command. Delete followed by the list name and then within square bracket 1. So say for example, okay, so whatever the element that is stored at the index position 1, that will be deleted. The element that is stored at the index position 1 will be deleted. So the same we can look with the help of the command, with the help of the Google Colab command. How do we do this update operation? Okay, so how do we do this update operation? The sample list is the name of the list what we have. Sample list dot append. Okay, so already what we have 50. So I just want to store. Okay, so and another thing you need to make a note of it. In list, we see that the elements can be duplicated. Okay, so we see that append that helps to add with the help of append. You can add the element at last position. We can add the element at the last position. So let us run the command and you can see, okay, so this would have been added up. So you want to look that, so with the help of the print function, you can visualize your output. With the help of the print function, you can observe 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay, so 60 is appended at the end of the list. So now reassignment. Okay, so as I have told that, okay, so we are going to change the element at the index position 1. So sample list square bracket 1. So already 20 is there. So I want to store the element 70. 70 must be stored in the index position, and with the help of print you can visualize. Okay, so print of sample list. You can see now the element. You see initially at the index position 120 was there. Now the element have been changed at the index position 1. Now it have been changed to 70. Okay, so now what we can do, okay, so the next is like we have appended an element at the end of the list and we were able to change the element that is stored at a particular index position. Now you want to delete the element that is stored in the index position. Okay, so that can be done with the help of the delete command. Okay, so delete sample list within square bracket 1. So whatever the element that is stored in the index position will be deleted. Okay, so the element that is stored in the index position will be deleted. Okay, so this you can observe after deleting. So how it is there, you can observe that initially at the index position 70 was there and we have deleted the element that is stored at the index position 1. Okay, so 70 is deleted. So after deletion, your list becomes 10, 30, 40, 50 and 60. So this is how, okay, so we can do the operations in collab. And then in list also, okay, so we can do certain operations. Okay, that is like what are all the different manner in which we can do the accessing of elements. Okay, so how we can do the accessing of elements. Okay, so basic accessing we have seen, okay, with the help of the index position. And what are all the other way we can do it? Okay, so say for example, okay, so I give sample list square bracket 1. So what will happen? 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So at the index position 1, what is the element that is there? 30 is there. Okay, so let me check. Yes, okay, we were able to access the elements in the list with the help of the index position. Okay, so in the same way, and another thing you need to note. Okay, so the index can be either positive or negative. Okay, so if it is going to be your positive index, if the index is positive, then the elements will be accessed from left. Element will be accessed from left. Okay, and if the index is negative, then the elements will be accessed from right. Then the element will be accessed from right. Okay, so this you have supposed to keep in mind. Okay, so when it comes to the when you access the element from left, you will access it starting from the index position 0, 1, 2, and 3, 4. And when you access the same list of elements, if you have a negative index, so the rightmost index position will have -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Okay, so the same thing, you see that sample list square bracket -1. So when it is -1, what will happen? You understand? So the element, which is the element that is at the index position -1, it's going to be 60. Okay, so it's going to be 60. So you see that, and at the same time, if you give -2, the second element, okay, so right from the right index position, the next element, the second element will be retrieved. So it's going to be obviously 50. Okay, so it's going to be obviously 50. So, and in the same way, you can also retrieve some subset of elements. Okay, so by giving the starting and the ending position. Okay, so you can give the subset of elements. Say, for example, I give 1 is to 3. So this operation is called as slicing operation. Okay, so what will happen? It will begin printing the list of elements right from starting from index position 1 till n minus 1. Okay, so till n minus 1 here is 3 minus 1, which is equal to 2. So first it will print the element in the index position 1. So which is the element here in the index position 1? You can see. Okay, here 1 till 2. So 30 and 40 alone will be retrieved. Okay, so 30 and 40 will be retrieved. So that is starting index position and ending index position. Okay, so when you give 1 is to 4, so what will happen? The starting index position is 1 and the ending index position is, that is 4 minus 1, that is equal to 3. Okay, so from 1 till 3, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So your output is going to be 30, 40, and 50. So it's going to be 30, 40, and 50. It's going to be 30, 40, and 50. Okay, so this is how, okay, so we can do the accessing of element, and also we have built-in function. Okay, so built-in functions is going to be, we are going to see what are all the built-in function. Built-in function in list. Okay, so the first category is based upon the list set of function that will return a value, but no change in the list. Okay, so but no change in the list. So that is going to be your first type of built-in function. Okay, so under this, the first category, what we are going to learn is a count function. Okay, so count is a function that helps to return. Okay, so how many number of times, the number of occurrences of a particular element in the list. So this is like, that is sample list dot count, and within bracket we need to mention. Okay, so within bracket we need to mention. Okay, so in our list we don't have any duplicate element. Okay, so say for example, so I give the element as 40. So 40 is occurring how many number of times in the list? Okay, so you can observe in our list, so we have 10, 30, 40, 50, and 60. Okay, so when you like look through the list of element. Okay, so 10 is occurring how many? Sorry, 40 is occurring. So it is going to occur. Okay, so one time. Okay, so it is going to occur one time in the list. Okay, so 40 is occurring one time in the list. And the second function, okay, so that is like the index is the next function. Okay, so the syntax is index, and within bracket you need to mention the value. Okay, so say for example, sample list dot index, and within square bracket. Okay, so we need to pass on the element. Okay, so say for example, if I give 40. Okay, so 40 is available in which index position? Okay, so 40 is available in which index position? So it throws an error. Okay, so let me check. Yes. Okay, so 40 is available when we give the list of element within single quotes. We were able to get our. Now the next type of built-in function, what we were actually looking at. Okay, so we have looked at count function, we have looked at the index function, and in the same index function we have yet another type that is called as index, and within bracket you give the element followed by the starting index position. Okay, so say for example, I give sample list dot index of. Okay, so sometimes, say for example, sometimes when your list is having some duplicate values, 10, 20, and then 30, 40, and again 20. Okay, so in this type of list, okay, so we have created a list with duplicate values where 20 is repeated twice. So you want to retrieve the index position, that is the second repetitive element of 20. Okay, so say for example, you want to retrieve the index position of 20 which is in the last. Okay, so how you can do it is like index sample list dot index, and within bracket. Okay, so what we need to give, we need to give 20 comma, and then what is the first index value? Okay, so 0, the index, the element at the 0th index position is 10. The element is at the first index position is 20. Okay, so the element at the second index position is 30. Okay, so you have to give, say for example, I give the start index position as 3. Okay, so you can observe now 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so it is able to retrieve the exact location. And the same thing, if I give the starting index position as 0. So what it will return? It will return the position of the element 20 as 1. It will return the position of the element 20 as 1. Okay, so these are all some of the operation. Okay, so and another set of built-in function is that does not return. Okay, so we also have another set that is which does not return any value, but there will be change in the list. But there will be change in the list. So for that, again, we have some list, that is we have append function. Okay, so how will you do it? Sample list dot append of 70. So 70 will be appended at the end of the list. Okay, so there is obviously a change in the list. Okay, so this is also a built-in function, but this is not returning any value, but rather there is a change in the list. Okay, so you can observe 70 is appended at the end of the list. So, and one more thing is like we also have another function when you would like to add some subset of elements at the end of the list. Okay, so how you can do it? That is sample list dot extend, and within square bracket. Okay, so rounded bracket followed by square bracket. So say for example, I give the element 80, 90 and 100. Okay, so meaning that 80, 90 and 100 must be appended at the end of the list. So we can, if we don't use a print, we will not be able to see the output. We will not be able to see the output. You can see that 80, 90 and 100, it is appended at the end of the list. It is appended at the end of the list. So under this, the first is append, the second is extend, and we have insert. Okay, so when you would like to insert an element at a particular index position, okay, so that is insert, and within bracket you have to mention, say for example, at the first index position I just want to add the element that is 101. Okay, so before that I have to mention to which particular list. Sample list dot insert, sample list dot insert. So at the index position 1 we have already 20, so now this must be changed to 101. Okay, so and you can observe how the change is reflected in the list. How the change is reflected in the list. Done? You can see? Okay. So in the same way, if you would like to perform, okay, so the removal of an element from the list also is possible. Okay, so that is sample list dot remove, and within bracket, okay, so you can directly mention, so what is the element you want to remove. Okay, so I just want to remove 101 from the list. Okay, so and you can give print of sample list. So you'll be able to observe that element 101 is removed from the list. And in the similar way, we have the next built-in function called as reverse function. Okay, so that is sample list dot reverse of. Okay, so what will happen? So it will, the list of element will be printed in a reversal order. So it will start from 100, 90, 80, 70, 20. So it prints up in the reverse order. Okay, so you can observe, you can see how this is done. The elements are getting printed up in the reverse order. And the last function, okay, so that is we have sort function. Okay, so sample list dot sort. Okay, so the element will get printed in a sorted order. The element will get printed in a sorted order right from the smallest to the greatest. And the next is pop. Pop is a function that, this is another built-in function that helps to remove the last element from the list. So that is sample list dot pop off. Okay, so and then again see using the print function how this list is functioning. So the last element will be removed. Okay, so the element at the index position 100 is removed. So in this series of video lectures, you would have learned how do we create the built-in data type called as list. Okay, so list is the collection of elements, and these elements can be of multiple data type, and we have studied how we can create a list, how you can access the list with the help of the index position, and what are all the ways that is there. Okay, so how you can bring in changes to the list, how you can add an element at the end of the list, how you can change the element at a particular position. And then we have also studied about the different built-in functions. Okay, so thank you all. We'll see the next built-in data type in the next video lecture. Thank you so much.